I stood in my kitchen staring at my laptop screen, reading the email for the 5th time. The words didn't change. We regret to inform you that we are unable to offer admission to David Mitchell for the class of 2029. Princeton, his dream school, gone. My hands were shaking as I set down my coffee mug. David had worked for this. 4 years of straight A's. Perfect SAT scores. President of 3 clubs. Hundreds of hours of volunteer work. His application was flawless. I'd helped him with every essay, every detail. We'd celebrated when he hit submit back in November, and now this. I heard his bedroom door open upstairs. My 17-year-old son, about to have his heart broken. I didn't know how to tell him. How do you explain that sometimes your best isn't enough? You're probably thinking rejection is normal, right? Kids get rejected from Ivy League schools every day, but you don't understand yet. This wasn't normal, not even close. Mom? David appeared in the doorway, still in his pajamas, his hair stuck up on one side. Did I get any emails? I couldn't speak, just turned the laptop toward him. I watched his face as he read, the hope draining away, his eyes scanning the words over and over like I had, trying to find some mistake, some loophole, something that would make it not true. I don't understand. His voice cracked. My application was perfect. You said it was perfect. It was, baby. It was perfect. Then why? He stopped, swallowed hard. I could see him fighting tears. 17-year-old boys don't cry in front of their mothers. What did I do wrong? Before I could answer, my husband Tom walked in from the garage, still in his work clothes from the night shift. He took one look at us, and his face shifted into this expression of concern that seemed almost practiced. What's wrong? Tom asked, setting his keys on the counter. David didn't get into Princeton, I said quietly. Tom moved toward our son, putting a hand on his shoulder. Hey, buddy, I'm sorry. I know how much you wanted this. I should probably tell you about Tom and me before I go further. We'd been married for 19 years, met in college, fell in love fast, got married young. Tom worked as a hospital administrator, made good money. He was always the practical one in our relationship, the planner, the strategist. I trusted him completely. We'd built what I thought was a solid life together. Nice house in the suburbs, good jobs, one perfect kid who never gave us any trouble. Tom and I had our issues like any couple, but nothing major. We were partners, or so I believed. That's the thing about betrayal. You never see it coming from the people you trust most. There are other great schools, Tom was saying to David. This isn't the end of the world. But David wasn't listening. He grabbed the laptop and was reading the email again, his hands trembling. They didn't even waitlist me, just straight rejection. How is that possible? Sometimes these things don't make sense, Tom said smoothly. Too smoothly. Admissions are competitive. Maybe they wanted more geographic diversity. Maybe. I had everything they wanted. David's voice rose. Everything. I spent 4 years. He stopped, pressing his palms against his eyes. I need to be alone. He left the laptop on the counter and walked out. A minute later, his bedroom door slammed hard enough to shake the walls. Tom and I stood in the kitchen in silence, the email still glowing on the screen between us. He'll be okay, Tom said finally. He's resilient. Something about the way he said it bothered me. Like he'd expected this, like he wasn't surprised at all. Tom, his application was incredible. You know it was. This doesn't make sense. Life doesn't always make sense, Sarah. He grabbed a water bottle from the fridge. He'll get into other schools, good schools. He'll be fine. But Princeton was his dream, since he was 14. Dreams change. Tom kissed my forehead, but his lips felt cold. I'm going to shower. Long night. He left me standing there staring at that rejection email. Something felt wrong. Off. Like a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit, but you can't figure out why. I know what you're thinking. Overprotective mother can't accept that her kid got rejected. Maybe you're right. Maybe I was looking for someone to blame besides bad luck. But I couldn't shake the feeling gnawing at my stomach. Over the next week, I watched my son fall apart. David stopped going to his film club meetings, stopped working on his documentary project, stopped talking to his friends. He'd come home from school and go straight to his room. I'd hear him in there, and the silence was worse than crying would have been. Tom seemed concerned, but in that distant way, like he was observing David's pain from behind glass. He'd ask how David was doing, nod at my answers, then go back to his phone or his laptop or whatever work he'd brought home. "Give him space," Tom kept saying. "He needs to process this." But it felt like more than processing. It felt like watching someone drown in slow motion. Meanwhile, family dinners got awkward. Tom's sister, Amanda, started calling more often. She'd always been competitive with me, comparing houses, cars, kids' achievements. Her son Ryan was also a senior, also applying to colleges. "How's David handling everything?" Amanda asked during one call, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "Tom told me about Princeton. Such a shame." My jaw clenched. "He's coping." "Well, Ryan just heard back from his early decision school. We're waiting to hear." She paused. "It's Princeton, actually. Small world, right?" My blood turned to ice. Ryan applied to Princeton? "Oh, didn't Tom mention it?" "Yes, early decision. We find out next week." I looked across the room at Tom. He was scrolling through his phone, not meeting my eyes. "No," I said slowly. "Tom didn't mention that." After I hung up, I confronted him. "Since when is Ryan applying to Princeton?" Tom shrugged without looking up. "Amanda mentioned it a few months ago. I didn't think it mattered." "You didn't think it mattered? David's been dreaming about Princeton since freshman year, and your nephew applies, and you don't tell us?" "Sarah, thousands of kids apply to Princeton. Ryan applying doesn't affect David." But his voice was too casual, too rehearsed. Like he'd practiced this conversation. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed next to Tom, listening to him breathe, and felt like I was lying next to a stranger. The man I'd been married to for 19 years suddenly seemed like someone I didn't know at all. Something was very, very wrong. The answer came 2 days later, completely by accident. I was doing laundry in our bedroom when Tom's phone buzzed on the nightstand. He was in the shower. I wasn't the type to check my husband's phone. I'd never felt the need to before. But something made me look. The notification preview showed a text from his bank. "Deposit confirmed, $25,000. $25,000, just deposited into an account I didn't know existed." My heart was pounding as I picked up the phone. The text didn't show which account. I set it down quickly when I heard the shower turn off, my mind racing. Where did Tom get $25,000? And why didn't he tell me? That evening, after Tom left for his night shift, I did something I'd never done before. I went into his home office and opened his laptop. His password was David's birthday. That almost made me stop. Almost. I found his email open. Started scrolling through his sent folder, not even sure what I was looking for. Just looking. My hands were sweating, my heart hammering against my ribs. This felt like crossing a line I couldn't uncross. Then I saw it. An email to Princeton's admissions office, sent 3 weeks before David's application deadline. Subject line: urgent concern regarding applicant David Mitchell. I clicked it open. Started reading. The room tilted. The walls seemed to close in. I had to read it 3 times before my brain could process what I was seeing. My husband, David's father, had written to Princeton claiming David was having severe behavioral issues and concerning emotional instability. He wrote that David had been seeing a therapist for anger management problems that weren't disclosed in his application. He said as David's father, he felt ethically obligated to inform them. Every word was a lie. David had never seen a therapist, had no anger issues, no behavioral problems. He was the easiest kid in the world, never even got detention. But there it was, in Tom's own words, deliberately destroying our son's chance at his dream school. I sat there in Tom's office chair, staring at the screen, physically unable to move. My chest felt hollow, like someone had reached inside and ripped out my lungs. Why would he do this? I kept scrolling, found more emails. One to David's guidance counselor asking to discuss concerns about David's application. Another to Princeton following up, emphasizing his serious reservations about David's readiness for an Ivy League environment. My own husband had systematically sabotaged our son. The mouse cursor hovered over the email thread. My hand was shaking so badly I could barely control it. Then I saw another email. This one from Amanda. Payment schedule confirmed. $25K on acceptance notification. Remaining $25K at Thanksgiving. As discussed, Ryan's application is strong, but David was the obvious admit. This solves both our problems. I read it again. Then again. Payment. Schedule. Ryan's application. My husband had sold out our son, destroyed David's dreams, for $50,000 from his sister, so her kid could get into Princeton instead. The implications crashed over me like a wave. Amanda's competitive comments, Tom's strange calm about the rejection, Ryan applying to Princeton early decision, the mysterious $25,000 deposit. It was never about college admissions being competitive. It was never about David's application not being strong enough. Tom had made sure David wouldn't get in. So Ryan would. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. My vision blurred and I realized I was crying, hot tears streaming down my face. The man I'd married, the man I'd trusted with everything, the father of my child, had destroyed our son. For money. I sat in that office for 2 hours, reading through every email, every text message I could find. The full picture emerged like a nightmare unfolding in slow motion. Tom and Amanda had planned this for months. Since last summer, before senior year even started. They'd researched how to sabotage an application without getting caught. Tom had forged a letter from a psychiatrist, had deleted 2 of David's recommendation letters from teachers and replaced them with lukewarm ones he'd written himself using the school's letterhead he'd stolen during parent-teacher conferences. He'd thought of everything, every detail, every angle. My husband was methodical, thorough. He'd covered his tracks, or so he thought. There was one more email, from Amanda to Tom, dated 3 days ago. Ryan got in. Early decision to Princeton. I'll bring your second payment to Thanksgiving dinner. Can't believe we pulled this off. David will get over it eventually. Kids are resilient. Kids are resilient. Our son was upstairs right now, barely eating, barely sleeping, questioning everything about himself, wondering what he'd done wrong, blaming himself. And Tom thought he'd get over it. I closed the laptop carefully, walked upstairs on shaking legs, stood outside David's bedroom door and listened to the silence on the other side. My baby. My sweet, brilliant boy who'd never hurt anyone in his life. Tom had destroyed him, traded his future for money. But here's what Tom didn't know, what neither he nor Amanda had any idea about. David wasn't the only one who could be methodical, who could plan, who could be absolutely ruthless when protecting the people I loved. Tom had made the biggest mistake of his life, and I was about to make him pay for every single second of my son's pain. So tell me, am I wrong for what I'm about to do? Or would you do exactly the same thing? Because I need you to understand something. There are lines you don't cross. And destroying your own child? That's the line. Drop a comment if you know what I'm talking about, because this story is just getting started. I spent 3 days planning my next move. 3 days of acting normal while rage burned through my veins like acid. 3 days of watching Tom come and go, kiss my forehead, ask about dinner like he hadn't just committed the ultimate betrayal. Have you ever had to smile at someone while knowing they destroyed everything? It's a special kind of torture. Every time Tom touched me, my skin crawled. But I couldn't let him know. Not yet. I needed more evidence. I needed to understand the full scope of what he'd done. That Saturday, while Tom was at his weekly golf game with his buddies, I went back into his office. This time, I was ready. I had a flash drive. I had a plan. I copied everything. Every email, every text message thread I could access from his cloud backup. Bank statements showing the $25,000 deposit into an account he'd hidden from me for months. Screenshots of his conversations with Amanda, where they joked about pulling off the perfect crime. The perfect crime. That's what Tom called destroying our son's future. I found the forged psychiatrist letter, found the fake recommendations, found emails to Princeton's admissions office that made my stomach turn. Tom hadn't just sent 1 letter, he'd sent 5. Over the course of 2 months, he'd built an entire false narrative about David being unstable, unreliable, potentially dangerous. Our son, the kid who cried when his goldfish died, who volunteered at the animal shelter every weekend, who made honor roll every semester without us ever having to push him. Tom had painted him as a monster. I sat at his desk, copying files, and felt something inside me shift. The love I'd felt for my husband, 19 years of marriage, of building a life together, just evaporated. Like it had never existed at all. In its place was something cold, something calculating. Tom wanted to play games? Fine. I'd show him what a real game looked like. I was closing out his email when something caught my eye. A calendar notification. Thanksgiving dinner, Amanda's house, 7 p.m. Pick up payment. Pick up a payment. The second $25,000. Tom was planning to collect his blood money at Thanksgiving dinner, surrounded by family, acting like everything was normal, like he hadn't sold out his own son. An idea started forming. It was crazy, possibly illegal, definitely risky. But as I sat there looking at that calendar reminder, I felt my lips curl into something that wasn't quite a smile. Tom thought he was so smart, so careful, so thorough. He had no idea what was coming. I heard the garage door opening, Tom coming home from golf. I quickly closed his laptop, grabbed my flash drive, and went downstairs. "Hey, honey," Tom called out, walking into the kitchen with his golf bag. His face was flushed from the sun, happy, relaxed. "How was your day?" "Quiet," I said, stirring the pasta sauce on the stove. "How was golf?" "Great. Shot under par for the first time this season." He came up behind me, wrapped his arms around my waist. "Something smells amazing." I felt his chest against my back and had to fight the urge to throw him off me. Instead, I turned and smiled, kissed his cheek. "David came down for lunch," I lied. "He seemed a little better today." Tom's face brightened. "Oh, really? That's good." "See? I told you he'd bounce back." Bounce back, like recovering from the flu, not from having his dreams destroyed by his own father. "Actually," I continued, keeping my voice light, "Amanda called. She wants to host Thanksgiving this year. I said we'd go." I watched Tom's reaction carefully. He smiled. "That's great. Be nice to have a family gathering. David could use the distraction." The distraction? Right. Tom had no idea that David had been working on something all semester, a documentary project for his AP film class. David was obsessed with filmmaking, had been since he was 12. He carried his camera everywhere, filming everything, including family dinners. That night, after Tom fell asleep, I went to David's room. He was still awake, staring at his laptop screen in the dark. The blue light made his face look ghostly. "Hey, baby," I whispered, sitting on the edge of his bed. "Can we talk?" He didn't look at me. "If this is another, you'll get into other schools speech, I don't want to hear it." "It's not." I took a breath. "I need to tell you something. About your dad." That got his attention. He looked up and I saw the dark circles under his eyes. My heart broke all over again. "What about Dad?" "David, your Princeton rejection? It wasn't random. It wasn't bad luck." I pulled out my phone, showed him the screenshots I'd taken. "Your father sabotaged your application. He wrote to Princeton and lied about you. Said you had behavioral problems, anger issues. He forged documents. He made sure you wouldn't get in." David stared at the screen. His face went through a dozen emotions in seconds: confusion, disbelief, horror, rage. "Why?" His voice was barely a whisper. "Why would he do that?" "Money. Aunt Amanda paid him $50,000 to make sure Ryan got in instead of you." I watched my son process this, watched the realization hit him. Every dinner at Amanda's house where Ryan talked about his college plans, every time Tom had been weirdly discouraging about Princeton, every little comment that hadn't quite made sense, it all clicked into place. "He sold me out," David said flatly. "My own father sold me out." "Yes." He was quiet for a long moment. "Then, what are we going to do?" "We." Not what was I going to do. We. That's when I knew my son was stronger than Tom had ever given him credit for. "I have a plan," I said, "but I need your help. Specifically, I need your documentary project." David's eyes widened. He understood immediately. "The one I've been filming all semester? Do you have footage from family dinners? Times when Tom and Amanda were here together?" He nodded slowly. "Hours of it. I film everything for my project. I've got footage from 6 months of Sunday dinners." "Can I see it?" David pulled up his video files, started scrolling through months of footage, family dinners, holiday gatherings, casual weeknight meals, and there, captured on camera in perfect HD quality, was everything we needed. Tom talking to Amanda in the kitchen, thinking no one could hear them. Discussing the plan to handle David's application. Tom coaching Amanda on what to say if anyone asked questions. Tom counting money Amanda had given him as a down payment. My son had accidentally recorded the entire conspiracy. Every word, every detail. "Holy shit," David breathed, watching the footage with me. I had no idea. I just filmed everything for my project. I didn't realize. You captured evidence of fraud, I said quietly. Federal fraud. Princeton applications are legal documents. What your father did is a crime. David looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Not my little boy anymore. Someone harder. Someone who'd been betrayed by the person who was supposed to protect him most. What's your plan, Mom? I told him. It took 20 minutes to explain the whole thing. When I finished, David was quiet for a long moment. It'll destroy him, he finally said. He destroyed you first. Mom, if we do this, there's no going back. Dad will lose everything. I know. David looked at me, really looked at me, trying to figure out if I meant it, if I was really willing to burn my marriage to the ground to protect him. I met his eyes steadily, let him see the absolute certainty in my face. Okay, David said, let's do it. The next 2 weeks were the hardest acting job of my life, pretending everything was normal, smiling at Tom, cooking his favorite meals, asking about his day at work. All while David and I secretly compiled the evidence, editing the video footage, organizing the emails and bank statements, building an airtight case. Tom had been so careful, but he'd forgotten one crucial thing. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone slips up, and we'd caught every single one of his mistakes on camera. Thanksgiving arrived. Amanda had invited the whole family, Tom's parents, his brother and sister-in-law, Amanda's husband and Ryan, and us. A big family gathering to celebrate the holiday, and to celebrate Ryan's acceptance to Princeton. The irony was almost too perfect. You okay? Tom asked me that morning as I got dressed. You seem tense. Just nervous about dinner, I lied. You know how your family can be. Tom laughed, kissed my shoulder. They're harmless. Besides, it'll be good for David. Get him out of the house. David, who was downstairs right now loading a very special video file onto a flash drive, the video we'd edited together. The one that would destroy Tom's life in the next 6 hours. Would you have done it? Knowing what it would cost? Knowing you were about to blow up your entire family? Comment below if you've ever had to make an impossible choice like this, because we were about to cross a line we couldn't uncross. The drive to Amanda's house felt surreal. Tom drove, chatting about traffic and the game this weekend like everything was normal. David sat in the back seat, silent, the flash drive in his pocket. I watched the suburbs roll past and felt weirdly calm. I know what you're thinking right now. How could I be calm? I was about to detonate a bomb in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner. About to expose my husband as a fraud in front of his entire family. About to end my marriage in the most public, humiliating way possible. But here's the thing about betrayal. Once you see it clearly, there's no unseeing it. Tom wasn't my partner anymore. He was someone who'd hurt my child for money, and I'd protect my child over anyone. Every time. Amanda's house was already full when we arrived. Tom's parents in the living room. His brother Jake manning the grill outside. Amanda in the kitchen, barking orders at her husband Mike. And Ryan, Princeton-bound Ryan, sitting on the couch looking smug. Sarah, Tom, David. Amanda air-kissed my cheeks. So glad you could make it. Ryan, tell your cousin the good news. Ryan stood up, grinning. I got into Princeton. Early decision. Found out 2 weeks ago. I watched David's face, saw him force a smile. Congratulations, man. That's great. Yeah, I still can't believe it, Ryan continued. Competition was insane this year. I guess I just got lucky. Lucky. Right. Tom clapped Ryan on the shoulder. Proud of you, buddy. You worked hard for this. The lie came so easily to him, so naturally, I wondered how many other lies I'd believed over 19 years of marriage. Dinner was torture. Amanda had gone all out, turkey, stuffing, 3 kinds of pie. Tom's mom kept talking about how proud she was of Ryan. Tom's dad made a toast to the newest Princeton Tiger. Everyone congratulated Ryan while David sat there, quiet, pushing food around his plate. Tom caught my eye across the table, smiled at me like we were in on some secret together. We were, just not the one he thought. After dinner, Amanda dimmed the lights in the living room. Okay, everyone, family tradition time. Sarah brought a video to share. David's been working on a documentary project for school, and they edited together some family footage for us. Tom's parents settled onto the couch. Jake grabbed another beer. Ryan sprawled in the armchair, already looking bored. Tom looked surprised. You made a video? David's been filming all semester, I said calmly. We thought it would be nice to share at Thanksgiving. Show everyone what we've been up to. That's sweet, Amanda said. Mike, can you pull it up on the TV? David stood, pulled the flash drive from his pocket. His hand was steady as he inserted it into the TV. The screen flickered to life. This is just some family moments, David said quietly. Things from the past few months. The video started innocently enough. Footage from Sunday dinners, Tom and I cooking together in the kitchen. David's friends hanging out in our basement, normal family stuff. Tom relaxed beside me on the couch, even smiled at some of the clips. This is lovely, his mom said. David, you're quite the filmmaker. Then the video changed. The date stamp on the screen read September 15th, 3 months ago. The camera was positioned in our dining room, slightly elevated. Tom didn't notice it, focused on his phone. Amanda's voice clear as day. So we're really doing this? You're sure? Tom on screen, not looking up. Ryan's a strong candidate, but David's application is stronger. If they're both in the pool, David gets in. Simple math. I felt Tom stiffen beside me, saw him start to reach for the remote. Wait, I said quietly, took his hand, held it tight. Let everyone watch. On screen, the conversation continued. Amanda, but what if Princeton investigates? What if they figure out? Tom, they won't. I've been careful. The psychiatrist letter looks legit. The guidance counselor believes David's having issues. I've built a paper trail. By the time he applies, Princeton will see red flags everywhere. The room had gone completely silent. Tom's parents were staring at the screen. Jake had set down his beer. Ryan looked confused. What is this? Tom's mom asked slowly. The video kept playing. Tom and Amanda at our kitchen table, Tom counting money. $25,000 down. Rest on acceptance confirmation. This is business, Amanda, nothing personal. Amanda on screen. What about Sarah? What about David? Tom. Sarah will never know. David's just a kid. He'll get over it. Kids are resilient. He'll go to a state school, be fine. Ryan gets Princeton. You get bragging rights. I get 50 grand. Everyone wins. Turn it off. Tom stood, reaching for the TV. David blocked him. No, Dad. They need to see the rest. More footage. Tom on the phone with Princeton's admissions office, his voice dripping with false concern. I'm calling about my son's application. I have some serious concerns about his emotional stability. He's been having anger management issues, violent outbursts at home. Every word a lie, every word captured on camera. Tom's mom made a sound like she'd been punched. His father's face had gone dark red. The video continued. Amanda and Tom at another Sunday dinner, Tom updating her. I sent 3 more emails to Princeton. Really drove home the mental health concerns. There's no way they'll accept him now. Ryan's golden. Then Ryan's voice on camera. Mom, are you sure this is legal? Sabotaging David's application? Amanda, your uncle's handling it. Don't worry about the details. Ryan on screen looked uncomfortable but didn't argue. Just nodded and went back to his phone. The video ended. The living room stayed dark for a moment before Mike turned on the lights. No one spoke. Tom's face had gone completely white. Amanda looked like she might throw up. Ryan was staring at his hands. You recorded us? Tom's voice shook. David was... The camera. Documentary project, David said flatly. I film everything. You knew that. You just forgot I was filming. Tom's dad stood up. His hands were clenched into fists. Please tell me this is some kind of sick joke. It's not, I said quietly. I pulled out a folder from my bag. I have the emails, the bank statements, the forged psychiatrist letter, all of it. Tom sabotaged David's Princeton application so Amanda's son could get in instead, for $50,000. That's... Amanda started, then stopped. Couldn't finish the sentence. Tom's mom was crying. Actually crying, tears streaming down her face. You destroyed your own son's future? For money? It wasn't, you don't understand. Tom started. What is there to understand? His father's voice boomed through the room. You took money to sabotage your son, your own child. David will be fine, Tom shot back. He can go anywhere. Princeton isn't the only... You don't get to decide that. I stood up, my voice shaking with rage I'd been holding back for weeks. You don't get to destroy his dreams and then tell him he'll be fine. You lied to Princeton. You forged documents. You made them think our son was dangerous. Mom's right. David's voice was eerily calm. You told Princeton I had violent outbursts, anger management problems. You said I was seeing a therapist for behavioral issues. You made them think I was unstable. I did what I had to. For money. Jake cut in. He looked disgusted. Jesus, Tom, for money. Amanda found her voice. I want my money back. All of it. Now. Tom spun to face her. Are you kidding? This was your idea. My idea? Amanda's voice pitched higher. You came to me. You said Ryan didn't have a shot with David in the application pool. You said you could fix it. They started shouting at each other, accusations flying, Tom's parents watching in horror as their children revealed exactly how deep the betrayal went. Ryan stood up, looked at David. I didn't know. Not really. I mean, I knew something was off, but I didn't think they'd actually... You heard them planning it, David said quietly. In the video, you knew. Ryan's face flushed red. I don't know what I thought. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't get David into Princeton, Tom's dad said. His voice was cold in a way I'd never heard before. Sorry doesn't undo what you people did. We have to tell Princeton, Tom's mom said. They need to know. Ryan's admission, it's fraudulent. No, Amanda shrieked. You can't. Ryan worked hard for this. Ryan's admission is built on lies. I pulled out more papers from my folder. I have proof Tom actively sabotaged David. Princeton's legal team will want to see this. The FBI might want to see it too. Application fraud is a federal crime. The color drained from Amanda's face. Federal crime? You can't... Sarah, please. Please? I stared at her. You paid my husband to destroy my son, and you want me to please? Tom tried one more time. Sarah, honey, we can work this out. We're done. I said it clearly, firmly. I'm filing for divorce. David and I are leaving. You can stay here and explain to your family how you sold out your son. I'm done protecting you. I grabbed David's hand, started walking toward the door. Behind us, chaos erupted. Tom's parents shouting at him, Amanda screaming about the money, Jake calling Tom a disgrace, Tom yelling back, trying to justify himself, making it worse with every word. We walked out into the cold November night, got in the car, drove away. David was quiet for a few blocks. Then, Mom, what happens now? Now? I gripped the steering wheel. Now we rebuild. We fight. We make sure Princeton knows the truth. We make sure your father pays for what he did. Will Ryan lose his admission? Probably, yes. David nodded, looked out the window. Good. My son wasn't cruel, but he wasn't a pushover either. Tom had underestimated both of us. That was his biggest mistake. Can Tom come back from this? Can a father who betrayed his child ever be forgiven? Drop a comment. I need to know if I went too far or if you'd have done the exact same thing, because this isn't over yet. Not by a long shot. The calls started the next morning. Tom, Amanda, Tom's mom. I ignored them all, let them go to voicemail. Listened to Tom begging me to talk this through, like there was anything to discuss. Like he hadn't committed fraud. Like he hadn't destroyed his own son. I hope you're still with me here, because this is where things get complicated. When you blow up someone's life, even when they deserve it, the fallout hits everyone. Hard. David and I stayed at a hotel that weekend. I couldn't be in the house with Tom, couldn't look at him without seeing those emails, hearing those recordings, every word he'd said about David being expendable. Monday morning, I filed for divorce. Tuesday, I called Princeton. The woman I spoke with in the admissions office was professional but skeptical. Mrs. Mitchell, these are serious allegations. We'll need to investigate thoroughly before we can comment. I have video evidence, emails, bank statements. My husband documented everything. Silence on the other end then. Can you send that to our legal department? I sent it all. Every screenshot, every video file. The complete dossier of Tom's betrayal. Wednesday, Princeton's legal team called back. The woman's voice was different this time, tight, angry. Mrs. Mitchell, we've reviewed your evidence. This is unprecedented. We're placing Ryan Holbrook's admission under immediate review. We're also reopening David's application for consideration, and we're contacting law enforcement. What your husband did, it's fraud. Multiple federal offenses. I know. Does David still want to attend Princeton? After everything that's happened? I looked at my son sitting on the hotel bed, doing homework like his life hadn't just imploded. Hold on. I covered the phone. David, Princeton wants to know if you still want to go there. He looked up. His face was different than it had been 2 weeks ago. Harder. Older. The betrayal had changed him in ways I was still trying to understand. Yeah, he said quietly. I still want to go. It was always my dream. Dad doesn't get to take that from me, too. I told the woman. She said they'd be in touch. Tom's lawyers called that afternoon. He wanted to settle things amicably. Wanted to avoid unnecessary conflict. My lawyer, I'd hired the most aggressive divorce attorney in the state, laughed when I told her. He committed fraud, sabotaged your son, and now he wants amicable? Tell him to go to hell. We're taking everything. Thursday, the police showed up at our house. I'd moved back in. Tom was staying with his brother. The detectives wanted to see the evidence, wanted to interview David and me separately. They took notes, shook their heads. One detective, a woman with kind eyes, said, I have 3 kids. What your husband did? I can't even imagine. We'll be pressing charges. How much trouble is he in? Application fraud? Wire fraud? Conspiracy? He's looking at serious prison time if convicted, plus restitution, civil penalties. And he'll lose his job, obviously. Hospitals don't take kindly to employees committing felony fraud. That night, Tom showed up at the house, stood on the porch and rang the doorbell until I answered. He looked terrible, hadn't shaved in days. Eyes red-rimmed like he'd been crying. Sarah, please, we need to talk. We don't need anything. I know I messed up. Messed up? I almost laughed. Tom, you didn't mess up. You didn't forget to pick up milk or miss David's soccer game. You deliberately sabotaged his future for money. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. A series of choices, dozens of them over months. I panicked. Amanda kept pushing, saying Ryan needed this, and I wasn't thinking clearly. You took $25,000. You forged documents. You lied to Princeton 5 times. You didn't panic, Tom. You planned. He tried to step closer. I moved back. Sarah, I'm your husband. We've been together for 19 years. Doesn't that count for something? It did, until you proved those 19 years were built on lies. How long have you been this person, Tom? How long have you been someone who'd hurt his own kid for money? Or did I never really know you at all? I watched something break in his face. Reality hitting him. He'd destroyed everything and there was no way back. Can I see David? No. He's my son. Then you should have acted like it. My voice rose. You should have protected him, supported him. Instead, you sold him out. What kind of father does that? Tom's hands were shaking. I'll make it right. I'll go to Princeton. I'll tell them I lied. You'll go to prison, Tom. The FBI is investigating you. Princeton's pressing charges. Amanda's suing you for the money back. Your parents have disowned you. Your job fired you. You don't get to make this right. There is no making this right. He stood there on my porch, not ours anymore, and I watched 19 years of marriage dissolve in real time. The man I'd loved, the man I'd trusted with everything. Gone. Like he'd never existed. I'm sorry, he whispered. So am I. I closed the door in his face. Amanda tried calling, tried to blame me for overreacting. Her voicemail, Sarah, think about what you're doing to the family. This is going to tear everyone apart. Can't we just move past this for the sake of... I deleted it mid-sentence. Tom's mom called. Her voice was broken. I don't understand how my son became this person. I raised him better than this. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I'm so sorry for what he did to David. That one I listened to. That one made me cry. By the end of the week, the story had gone local. Husband sabotages son's Ivy League dreams for $50,000, ran in the newspaper. Tom's face was on the front page. The article detailed everything. The fraud, the conspiracy, the betrayal. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. News outlets wanting interviews. Morning shows asking us to share our story. I ignored most of them, but I did one. A national morning show. Because I wanted Tom to see it. Wanted him to understand the consequences of his choices. The interviewer was sympathetic. Sarah, how did you find out what your husband was doing? By accident. I saw a bank notification for a deposit I didn't know about. Started looking. Found emails proving he'd sabotaged David's application. How did David react when you told him? I looked at my son sitting next to me on the morning show couch. He'd agreed to do the interview. Said he wanted people to know what his father had done. I was devastated, David said. His voice was steady, calm. To find out your own father destroyed your dreams for money, it changes how you see the world, how you see people. Are you angry? I was. Now I'm just sad. Sad that he thought so little of me. That money was more important than my future. The interviewer turned back to me. What's next for you and David? We're rebuilding. David's reapplying to Princeton. They've reopened his application. We're focusing on moving forward. And your husband? Tom made his choices. Now he has to live with the consequences. The interview aired 2 days later, went viral within hours. Tom's betrayal became a national story. Think pieces about parental betrayal, op-eds about the college admissions system, social media debates about whether I'd gone too far by exposing him so publicly. I didn't care about the debates. I cared about David. 2 weeks later, Princeton called. David answered his phone, listened. His eyes went wide. He hung up and looked at me. Mom, I got in. They're offering me early admission, full scholarship, and a $50,000 restitution payment for what Dad did. I burst into tears, grabbed my son and held him while he laughed and cried at the same time. You did it, I whispered. You're going to Princeton. We did it, Mom. We fought back. We won. Ryan's admission was revoked. The news came through Amanda's screaming voicemail. You're ruined my son's life. He did nothing wrong. This is your fault. Yours and David's. I deleted that one too. Tom was indicted on 3 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy, and 2 counts of filing false statements. His lawyer recommended a plea deal. Prison time would be reduced if he cooperated, made restitution, publicly admitted what he'd done. Tom took the deal, got 3 years, served 18 months. The divorce was finalized while he was in prison. I got the house, the savings, full custody of David. Tom got nothing. David started at Princeton that fall. Thrived there, made friends, joined the film club, started healing. I saw Tom once after he got out of prison. He showed up at the house unannounced, thinner, grayer, broken. I'm not here to ask for anything, he said quietly. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. For all of it. For what I did to David. To you. To our family. Okay. Could I maybe see him? Just for a minute? David doesn't want to see you, Tom. He's made that clear. He nodded, like he'd expected that. Tell him I'm proud of him, for getting into Princeton, for being stronger than I ever was. I'll tell him. Tom turned to leave, stopped. Do you think someday he might forgive me? I thought about that, about forgiveness, about betrayal, about a father who'd sold out his son and a son who'd had to grow up too fast because of it. I don't know, I said honestly. That's up to David, not me, not you. He walked away. I haven't seen him since. That was 2 years ago. David's a junior at Princeton now, majoring in film. He made a documentary about what happened, turned our family's nightmare into his senior thesis project. It won awards, got him attention from studios. My son turned his father's betrayal into art, into something meaningful. Me? I started a foundation, help families dealing with academic fraud, advocate for stricter admissions oversight, share our story so, hopefully, no other kid has to go through what David did. Tom lives alone somewhere, works a minimum wage job. His family won't speak to him, neither will David. He destroyed everything for $50,000, lost his son, his wife, his family, his career, his freedom. All because he thought money was more important than doing the right thing. Here's what I learned. Betrayal doesn't just hurt in the moment. It changes you permanently. David's more cautious now, doesn't trust easily, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. But he's also stronger, more resilient. He knows he can survive anything because he survived his own father's betrayal and came out the other side. As for me, I learned that protecting your children means everything, even when it costs you your marriage, even when it destroys your family, even when people say you went too far. There's no such thing as too far when it comes to protecting your kids. Tom thought he could get away with it, thought he was smarter than everyone else, thought David would get over it, and I'd never find out. He was wrong on every count. To every parent reading this, your children trust you completely. They believe you'll protect them, support them, put them first. That trust is sacred. Break it, and you break them. Tom broke David, but David rebuilt himself into something stronger. And that's the real victory, not Princeton, not the scholarship, not even the justice. The victory is watching my son walk across that Princeton campus, thriving, succeeding, proving that he's more than what his father tried to make him. Tom wanted to make David small so Ryan could be big. Instead, Tom made himself small, made himself nothing. David made himself everything. If you've ever had to protect your child from someone who should have protected them, you know this pain. You know this rage. You know this awful, necessary choice between loyalty and justice. I chose justice. I'd choose it again. Every single time. To anyone dealing with a betrayal like this, you're stronger than you think. Your kids are stronger than you think. Truth has a way of coming out. Lies have a way of destroying the liar. Stand up, fight back, protect your children at all costs, because in the end, that's what being a parent really means.